2 Peter chapter 1, verses 5 through 7, the Apostle Peter gives us 7 successive phases in the upbuilding of our character. Again, this is character. And he says in verse 5, beside this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue. Notice the starting point, as I said in my lab talk on faith, the starting point with everything God does is faith. There's no other place to begin but faith. But when God has given us faith, then there's got to be a process of development and upbuilding. And we are to add to our faith virtue, to virtue knowledge, to knowledge temperance, to temperance patience, to patience godliness, to godliness brotherly kindness, to brotherly kindness charity. Let's look at those very briefly, just for a moment or two, and see the 7 successive steps up of character building. We add to faith virtue. I like the translation excellence. Excellence is the mark of a Christian. Never be sloppy at anything you do. If you were a janitor before you were saved, be a better janitor after you were saved. If you were a teacher before, be a better teacher afterwards. If you were a nurse, be a better nurse. We add to our faith excellence. When I was training teachers in East Africa for 5 years, my primary purpose was to win them to Christ. And when they made a profession of Christ and were baptized in the Holy Spirit, their attitude was, well, no, you're going to expect less of me because I'm a Christian. And I used to say to them, on the contrary, I'm going to expect much more of you. If you could be a teacher without Christ and the baptism, you ought to be twice as good a teacher when you have Christ and the baptism. I'm not going to expect less, I'm going to expect more. And I will just state this, and I trust for the glory of God. The 3rd year that I was in charge of that college, we graduated 57 students, men and women. And by a series of miracles which I cannot go into, but they were miracles, every student passed in every subject. And the representative of the education department of the government of Kenya, responsible for teacher training colleges, came and congratulated me personally and said, in all our records, we've never had results like this, because I taught excellence. See, what could have been a better testimony to the baptism in the Holy Spirit, which we were notorious for, than the fact that all our students passed in every subject? Christianity is no excuse for being sloppy. In fact, a sloppy Christian is denying his faith. All right, add to your faith excellence. To excellence, knowledge. I don't believe that means intellectual knowledge primarily, but the knowledge of God's will, knowledge of His Word. To knowledge, temperance. Most modern translations say self-control. There is a point beyond which you cannot go in character development if you don't learn to control yourself, your emotions, your words, your appetites, and many other things. To temperance or self-control, we're to add perseverance. Stick it out. Again, there's a point beyond which you will never arrive if you don't learn to persevere, because every time you're getting there, you'll give up before you get there. To perseverance, godliness. To godliness, brotherly kindness. That's love of your fellow believers. But that isn't the end. To brotherly kindness, charity, divine love. That's the climax. Now, you start with it when you're baptized in the Holy Spirit, but you end with it when it comes to character development. The difference between brotherly love and divine love is brotherly love, we love our Christian brothers who love us. Divine love, we love those who hate us, persecute us, and are altogether unlovely. All right, now, in the process of developing divine love, we meet various obstacles. And I want to show you tonight that the obstacles are put there by God, not by the devil. And it's only as we learn to meet and overcome these obstacles that we are made perfect in love.